Welcome back to The Hang, everybody. Today we're talking about Philip Jeffries' metallic leaf wall covering and some tips and tricks to hang it. It's spectacular, it's artisanal, but you still have to be extra careful when hanging this wall covering. It looks beautiful. I know it's a little more durable than any of the metal leaf on the market. What are some tips and tricks? What type of adhesive are we going to use on this?
Well, on this particular product, all the leaves actually, I use a clear adhesive. And I use one that's probably middle of the road in terms of moisture, wetness, mainly because I don't want it overly wet. And the reason you don't want to use one that's overly wet is because this material doesn't breathe because of the nature of the material. And if you have a wall that isn't really breathing a lot either, you really create what I call a moisture sandwich. The paste stays wet. I've seen paste wet the next day because it has no place to go. And the installer used a paste that was just too wet.
Right, because if you use too much moisture, you might get bubbling, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so, very common. Or if you rush it to where you're even the lower moistured paste still needs to absorb into that backing somewhat. So if you tend to hang it too fast, you could end up with bubbling as well.
So we got to take our time and got to use a low moisture adhesive. So if you're still having problems doing that, is this a product you use lining paper for?
Absolutely. Like I say, there's never a bad reason to use lining paper, and that's true with this too. Dual purpose. Gives you a smooth surface and also creates a surface for moisture to absorb into. So perfect example for using it.
And this, of course, is one of those ones where you only want to use a soft brush. We don't want to use anything that's going to scratch up the metal.
No, it's very easy to scratch. You actually want to use a soft bristle type brush. It lays very well.
Yes.
One very good thing about the material, it lays on the wall because it's so smooth, very flat. So a brush does a very good job with it.
So to wrap up, top tips here for our metal leaf. 1, use a low moisture adhesive. 2, make sure that we use the right tools here, soft brushes. And 3, if you have imperfect walls or rough walls or you're having a hard time hanging, you can always go to lining paper, which is going to make a great install.